All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're not just looking at a physics problem. We're basically opening up a cold case file. This is a detective story that has had the smartest people on the planet scratching their heads for more than 100 years. And it all comes down to one single mysterious number. And, who better to set the scene than the legend himself, Richard Feynman? When a guy like that calls something one of the greatest damn mysteries, you know it's the real deal. This isn't just some random number. It seems to be hardwired into the universe, and for the longest time, nobody has had a clue why. And here it is. This is alpha, the fine structure constant. Now, in simple terms, this number, which is dimensionless, meaning it's just a pure number, no units like meters or seconds attached, it controls the strength of how light and matter talk to each other. It tells an electron exactly how to absorb or spit out a photon. But where on Earth does it come from? Well, today's explainer is going to dive into a pretty radical new idea from our source material about what this magic number really is. So to get to the bottom of this, the theory we're looking at says we need to stop searching for some new particle or undiscovered force. Instead, we need to look at the ruler we're using to measure everything. The whole idea is that the problem isn't in what we're measuring, but how we're measuring it. I mean, think about it. What if the problem isn't the answer, 137, but the question we've been asking all along? The source material we're digging into suggests this entire mystery might just be a symptom of a flawed foundation, our big official system of units, the SI system. And this is really the core of the critique. We're told these 7 base SI units are the fundamental building blocks, right? That they're all independent. Well, they're not. As you can see, it's a tangled web. If you tweak the definition of the kilogram, you suddenly mess with the definition of the ampere, the mole, and the Kelvin. They're not solid pillars. They're all leaning on each other. And the theory goes even deeper, saying some of these units are just, well, pointless. Take the mole. It's supposed to be a base unit for the amount of substance, but really it's just a way of counting. It's no different than saying a dozen. It's a handy word for a specific number, but it's not a fundamental dimension of reality. Then you've got the candela, the unit for how bright something is. According to this theory, this unit is totally based on how the human eye reacts to a certain color of green light. It's a biological measurement, specific to us, not something universal. You can actually derive it from other units anyway. And finally, temperature. We feel it is hot or cold, but deep down, what is it? Physics tells us it's just a measure of the average kinetic energy of a bunch of particles. So the source material argues it should just be measured in units of energy, like joules, which would make the Kelvin totally redundant as a base unit. Okay, so if our current system is a tangled, redundant mess, what's the alternative? Well, the source material proposes a seriously bold simplification, a system built on what it claims are the only 2 truly fundamental dimensions of our entire universe. And this is it, the ST's system of units. The idea here is to just throw everything else out, kilograms, amperes, kelvins, all of it, and then describe every single thing in physics, from gravity to electric charge, using nothing but different combinations of space and time. That's it. And this slide really shows you just how big of a shift this is. In this new ST system, mass is no longer a fundamental property of stuff. It's completely redefined as a 3-dimensional volume of electromagnetic energy. Its dimensions become time cubed over space cubed. So think about that for a second. Mass is no longer a substance. It's a structure, a stable vibration in the fabric of space-time itself. And this new way of thinking applies to everything. Velocity, yeah, that's still space over time, s over t, that makes sense. But look at the others. Energy becomes time over space, the exact inverse of velocity. Electric charge is described simply as a dimension of space. And here's the really weird one. Inductance, an electrical property, ends up having the exact same space-time dimensions as mass. The author of this theory actually calls the ST system a Rosetta Stone. The goal here isn't just to be clever, it's to create a universal language that can translate between what we see as separate parts of physics, like gravity and electricity, and show how they're all connected underneath. It's a very ambitious goal. So with this new space-time language established, let's circle all the way back to our original mystery, alpha, the fine structure constant. How does this radical new system claim to finally crack the case? This is the million-dollar question, right? If absolutely everything is just a mix of space and time, where the heck does a specific pure number like 1 over 137 come from? Well, according to this theory, the answer is hidden in the way energy itself is built. The ST system says energy comes in two basic flavors. First, you have a localized, stable, standing wave. Think of it like a self-contained whirlpool of energy. This, the theory says, is what we see and touch as matter. Then, you have a traveling wave, which is energy moving freely through space. And that's what we see as light or radiation. And here's the punchline. The theory claims that we've been using one word, kilogram, to talk about two completely different kinds of energy. It makes a distinction between a kilogram of matter and a kilogram's worth of free space energy. And when you calculate the ratio between those two, you don't get some random number. You get exactly 2 times alpha. So what this means is, in this new picture, alpha is no longer some magic number that just shows up out of thin air. It's a direct physical ratio. It's the fundamental conversion factor between the energy that's locked up as matter and the energy that's flying free through space. It's a property baked right into the fabric of space-time. So, what do we do with all this? I mean, we've gone from a single mysterious number to completely rethinking our most basic units of measurement. Let's just quickly recap what this pretty unconventional theory is really proposing. So number 1, the ST system says you can describe the entire universe with just space and time. 2, it flips our definition of mass on its head, saying it's a structure of energy, not stuff. 3, it claims the fine structure constant is just a simple ratio between the two forms of energy, matter and radiation. And finally, and this is absolutely the most important takeaway here, this is a novel alternative theory. It is not part of mainstream physics, nor is it accepted by it. You have to think of this as a fascinating thought experiment that's asking a huge what if. And that what if leaves us with a really powerful final thought. You know, whether this specific theory is right or wrong, it forces us to ask a much deeper question. Could it be that the biggest secrets of the universe aren't going to be found by building bigger machines, but by taking a step back and re-examining the very language and the assumptions we use to describe reality in the first place? Now that is something to think about.